The thunder cracked like a gunshot, shattering the night sky over Tokyo, and Emily's heart stopped as she realized. Her wallet was gone, slipped from her pocket. In the crush of the subway crowd, vanishing into the sea of umbrellas and hurried footsteps. She froze on the slick sidewalk, rain pounding down in sheets, soaking her thin jacket and blurring the neon signs that screamed in a language she couldn't read. Panic clawed at her throat. She was alone in this sprawling metropolis, thousands of miles from home, with no money, no phone charger, and a storm that seemed hell-bent on swallowing her whole. What if she never made it back to her hotel? What if this was how it ended? Lost, broke, and forgotten in a foreign land. Emily ducked under a narrow awning, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She'd come to Japan for a fresh start, escaping the wreckage of a failed engagement back in Chicago. A solo adventure, she'd told her friends, forcing a smile. But now, as lightning illuminated the empty street, adventure felt like a cruel joke. Her phone battery hovered at 5%, the map app flickering uselessly. She tried to flag down a passerby, but the few souls braving the deluge hurried past, heads down, their black umbrellas like shields against the world. One man paused, glanced at her sodden figure, then shook his head and moved on. Desperation mounted. Could she trust a stranger here? Stories of scams and worse flashed through her mind, each one more terrifying than the last. Emily hesitated, but exhaustion ran on her cheeks. A shadowy figure emerged from the alley across the street, tall, cloaked in a hooded raincoat. He moved with purpose, crossing the road in long strides. Emily's pulse raced. Was he approaching her? She backed up against the wall, her mind screaming to run, but where? The figure stopped a few feet away, lowering his hood to reveal a weathered face, maybe in his 50s, with kind eyes crinkled at the corners. He said something in Japanese, his voice gentle but firm. She shook her head, stammering, "English? Do you speak English?" He tilted his head, then nodded slowly. "Little, you lost." His accent was thick, but the words were a lifeline. Emily nodded frantically, explaining her plight in a rush. Wallet stolen, phone dying, no idea where her hotel was. The man listened, rain dripping from his coat, unfazed by the storm. "Come," he said simply, gesturing to a small door tucked into the building behind her. Suspicion flared. What if this was a trap? But the alternative, wandering aimlessly until hypothermia set in, pushed her forward. With a deep breath, she followed him inside. The door led to a tiny noodle shop, dimly lit and empty save for an old woman behind the counter who nodded at the man. Warmth enveloped Emily like a hug, the scent of broth and steaming ramen chasing away the chill. The man, Hiroshi, he introduced himself, spoke rapidly to the woman, who bustled off to prepare something. "Sit," he said. "Eat first," he insisted, as the old woman placed a steaming bowl in front of her. The ramen was simple, noodles and savory broth, topped with green onions and a soft-boiled egg, but it tasted like salvation. As she ate, Hiroshi shared bits of his story in halting English. He was a retired fisherman from a coastal town, visiting Tokyo to see his daughter. "Life hard sometimes," he said, staring into his own bowl. "But kindness, it comes back." Emily nodded, her guard lowering inch by inch. She told him about her broken engagement, how she'd fled to Japan to find herself, only to lose everything literal in the process. He listened without judgment, his presence a quiet anchor in the storm outside. But then a twist that made her stomach drop. Hiroshi's phone buzzed, and he answered in Japanese, his face paling. He hung up, muttering something under his breath. "Problem?" Emily asked, tension coiling again. He sighed. "Daughter, hospital, accident." The words hit like another thunderclap. His daughter had slipped in the rain. Hiroshi pulled out her ankle badly, and an older model, and handed it to her. Yet here he was. Charge, call helping hotel? A stranger instead of rushing to washed over her, but so did wariness. Guilt flooded Emily. "Go! Please, I'll be fine." But Hiroshi shook his head. "Not leave you alone. Dangerous night." Suspense built as the rain intensified, rattling the shop's windows like impatient fists. Emily's mind raced. What if his delay caused something worse for his daughter? What if she was imposing on a man already burdened? Hiroshi called a cab using his app, insisting on paying. "No argue," he said with a faint smile. As they waited, he pulled out a small notebook from his coat, sketching a quick map of the area with landmarks. "For next time, be safe." The gesture was so thoughtful, so unassuming, that tears pricked her eyes again. The cab arrived, headlights cutting through the downpour. Hiroshi helped her in, handing the driver instructions and cash. "Thank you," Emily whispered, her voice breaking. How can I repay you? He waved it off. Pay forward. Help someone else. The door closed and the cab pulled away, leaving Hiroshi standing in the rain, a solitary figure growing smaller in the rearview mirror. Back at the hotel, safe and dry, Emily couldn't shake the encounter. Sleep evaded her as she replayed the night. The shock of the theft, the terror of being lost, the suspense of trusting a stranger. By morning, the sun broke through the clouds, and Tokyo sparkled like a new world. She reported her wallet to the